Today, we're going to address what happens if you get a bad report from your doctor. So in work comp, there's a couple of different doctors. You have your medical legal doctor that's called a QME or AME, and you also have your treating physician. And they really have two different roles, but ultimately they are responsible for discussing things like your disability status, permanent disability, work restrictions, need for future medical care, and ultimately just whether or not you had an injury in the first place. So if you have a treating physician, and often these are the doctors that you first go to, the great ones that your insurance company sends you to, they write bad reports. And oftentimes people want to know, how do I deal with that bad doctor and their bad report? Because it's impacting my case, my life, and my benefits. And so ultimately, if you don't like your treating physician, you can change your treating physician. If you've already gotten a bad report from your treating physician, you can go to what's called a QME or an AME. AME is really just if you have a lawyer, but it would be a QME if you're unrepresented. And you can choose a doctor from a state-issued panel to combat the opinion of your treating physician. You can also recommend getting a second opinion consult within the medical provider network, which you are entitled to. You're actually entitled to a third opinion if you want, but you got to know the labor code and you've got to know how to address it. Generally, it starts with asking the adjuster. However, oftentimes if you get a bad report and the doctor says you don't need any future medical care, you don't need to see a doctor anymore, the insurance adjuster won't listen. And so if you're getting dragged around and ultimately the adjuster's not authorizing a second or third opinion, you probably want to lawyer up and get help. If you have a bad QME report, on the other hand, it's a different story. Oftentimes, the only way to combat a QME is to take their deposition or request a supplemental report, which is a very nuanced art. Quite frankly, that should be left to the lawyers. If you need help and you don't want to get a lawyer, you can always contact Information and Assistance. However, Information and Assistance, it's kind of like going to a public defender. You're not really getting that specialized attention that you'd get if you were actually being represented directly by a lawyer. So they are good people doing good things at the board, and they are helping people out, but really for specialized help, I would recommend you contact a lawyer.